And hello, everyone, and welcome to our April edition. We've got a lot planned for this month. We're going to be talking about our Irish Saturday and the date for that. We're also going to be talking about our Irish webinar for the month of April. And we've got a special announcement. Walt Rothwell will be telling us about that. And we also had a chance to talk to a lady in Ireland who teaches the Irish language and teaches me a few things that I can use at some of the next seminars. All right, so that's what we have planned. Let's get right to it. Our Irish Saturday for the month of April will be on April the 13th. So stop on by the Hoffman Research Library, which is located at the Minnesota Genealogy Center in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. Here's an opportunity to get some of your Irish research questions answered. The Minnesota Genealogy Center is located at 1385 Mendota Heights Road, Suite 100. You can also stop by the library during regular business hours. To find out more about the library and hours of operation, go to the website at mngs.org. And our April monthly webinar will feature Michael Brophy, who will be presenting a session called Shamrocks in Cyberspace, Irish Genealogy Databases. That webinar is scheduled for April 20th. Like all types of information out there, details about our Irish ancestors is exploding on the internet. Michael will go over the best websites for Irish research. He'll explore and analyze these various sites, and that will include landmark editions such as Catholic Church records and vital records, which will also be presented. Finding aids for further Irish research will be assessed and critiqued in this session. He will list all that is happening with Irish resources on the internet. And we have a special announcement. It has been over 3 years since the IGSI had an in-person class. Well, that is about to change. The IGSI announced that they will begin 4 hybrid sessions starting in May of this year. I recently spoke to co-president Walt Rothwell about the new changes in the program. Walt says that the changeover to the hybrid sessions have been in the works for over 6 months now.
We've been planning for more than 6 months to have 4 hybrid sessions in 2024. So the first one will be on May 4th, and then we'll have others in June, September, and October, when we can be confident that there won't be any travel issues. And we'll be able to accommodate about 40 attendees in the live meeting area. And then we'll have unlimited numbers of virtual attendees as well. And we are working very hard to make sure it'll be a good experience for all in terms of being able to interact with the speaker. Our very first program is going to be Mary Wickersham, who is a member of IGSI and also our webmaster for the IGSI website. She's a professional genealogist and very experienced speaker. And she'll be talking about migration of the Irish to and across North America. We're really looking forward to that. Then in June, Lois Mackin, who's another professional genealogist and local speaker, will be doing a presentation as well. So if people are able to attend the live program, they will see in the registration process that they can choose live or virtual. If they are coming to the facility, they have the option to order a box lunch in advance. And when the program ends at noon, then we'll bring out the lunches and have kind of a social hour, a chance to interact with the speaker and the other attendees. The registration is going to look quite a bit different, and the registration for May 4th is open right now. It's a different platform that we're using for registration in order to be able to offer those various options for how you want to attend and whether you want to add on some other things like a box lunch. But so far we've done a good deal of testing, and it seems to be going well, but don't be surprised that it looks quite a bit different from May going forward.
The very first hybrid session will be on May the 4th. Registration is now open. How good is your Irish? Or have you ever taken any lessons in Irish or Gaelic? You know, if there's a difference between Irish and Gaelic? Well, I had a chance to talk to Lady Molly Guidra. She has a site called Irish with Molly, and she teaches the Irish language to people not only over in Europe, but also here in America and all across the globe. And she told me not only the difference between Irish and Gaelic, but also how the Irish language pertains to the culture of Ireland as well. And she also taught me a little bit of Irish on top of that. Molly Guidra has been teaching the Irish language for quite some time, and that teaching eventually led to her website, Irish with Molly. She said that the passion of teaching the Irish language actually started when she was a young girl, when some of her family from America came over to visit.
I have American cousins in North Carolina, and they came over for Thanksgiving dinner when I was 7 years old. And I kind of realized that here's this language that we have on the island of Ireland that they didn't really know about. And I loved teaching them the numbers, the colors, the animals, the basics in Irish. And then I suppose later after school, after teaching English for many years, my passion was really ignited for teaching Irish.
Molly's website contains a ton of information on learning the Irish language through various packages, but she says that teaching English has helped her in her goal of teaching Irish.
I think it was that I was traveling around the world. I worked on the Peace Boat, which is a UN sponsored NGO, and I taught for International House, which is a kind of worldwide language academy. And teaching English as a foreign language to adults and children and teenagers, I realized how we speak in Ireland is so vastly different. The dialect of Irish English or Hiberno English is really full of these inflections and nuances of the Irish language. And why do we speak like that? And, being in touch with family from home, in particular, my grandmother, who was in a nursing home at that time, I found it much easier to converse with her in Irish, as Gaeilge. And I started looking more deeply into etymology and storytelling and the links between our version of English and the Irish language. And I started teaching Irish online to people all over the world, a lot of Americans, Canadians, people in the UK and Ireland, all over the world. And then I was completely oversubscribed. I couldn't teach so many hours in the day. So I set up Irish with Molly, which is now on Instagram and TikTok. I run courses and webinars teaching Irish.
When somebody like me, who actually just came back from there 6 months ago, if I said, okay, I want to learn Irish now, how do I begin?
So there are loads of different resources and materials online. I created my courses to make a really kind of simplified, accessible, engaging, and meaningful course where people could really start from scratch and properly understand the concepts. Because as a beginner, you might be wondering, wow, I've seen that word before, but now there's a H added or there's another letter and it doesn't seem to really look like how it sounds. So I really enjoy making it very accessible and easy and enjoyable so you can really understand it. So there's my course, there's a lot of different creators on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. There's different books and things, but I did feel it's a bit of a desert of materials out there, and people can be a bit worried about dialect. Maybe your ancestors were from Ulster or Munster or Connacht or Leinster, and people can be a bit confused. So I aim to make it as effective as possible and just as meaningful and relevant as possible to let people know it's really a living language and it's something to really enjoy and be proud of.
And it seems like the language is coming back more than what we saw in the past. Wouldn't you agree?
Definitely. I
Yeah.
do see a new wave. People are
Mhm.
really breathing new life into the language. You see this with the Oscar nominated On Colleen Kewen, The Quiet
Right.
Girl,
Hmm.
last year, and Kneecap, the Belfast based music group who won awards at the recent Sundance Film Festival. And with Paul Mescal, and Cillian Murphy, and other Irish stars and actors speaking Irish on the red carpet. And I think there is this movement towards embracing something unique to Ireland. You know, it's our indigenous language, it's our official language, our native language, and it holds so much wisdom and it's very tender and very beautiful. And I'm still realizing aspects of the language that are so soulful and really connect us with our grandparents, our great grandparents. And you feel this other realm of being in the world. It's very unique.
Would you say that it adds a lot to understanding the culture of Ireland, knowing the
Definitely.
language?
I think so. I think if you're living in Ireland, you'll realize how the people speak and how they think and how we crack jokes are completely different to other places in the world. And even simple things like not saying yes or no. You might ask an Irish person like, "Oh, are you Molly?" "I am." "Are you from Dublin?" "I am." "And do you live here?" "I do." Because there is no yes or no in the Irish language. And other things like just the humor, the way, the structures we use, the culture, the dance, the sport, they're all intertwined. And I think language is really the essence of culture.
I'm starting out and I might be a little bit intimidated. How do you get past that intimidation?
That's a great question. I have a lot of students from the States, from all over the world. And I think what really helps them immerse themselves in this community is our Telegram group and our Zoom room. It's 24/7 open, so people can come online and practice and speak and listen any time of day or night. And in the Telegram group, people are really encouraged to express themselves in Irish and English,
Mhm.
to make mistakes, ask questions. I love answering questions and I love correcting my students and helping them enhance their Irish. And the courses then are broken down to be extremely simplified, just to explain every single nuance and every piece of the language in a way that is made really relevant and interesting. Things like, well, we have no verb to have in Irish. So we
Mhm.
say things are at us. And that's a very beautiful part of like Celtic spirituality. So I think that makes it more memorable and easier to acquire the language when you really understand the soul and the spirit in the language.
This is something that here in America we kind of get confused with. Do you refer to it as the Irish language or the Gaelic language?
Yes, so a lot of my students will say, "Oh, I call it Gaelic," or "My parents called it Gaelic." So there are three surviving Gaelic languages. They are Irish Gaelic, Scottish Gaelic, and Manx. And Irish Gaelic evolved into Scottish Gaelic in around the 6th or 7th century. And so it's a bit confusing to call the language Gaelic when there are three different languages which are Gaelic languages. It's like calling French Romance when there are many Romance languages. So I think my theory is people in the States call Irish Gaelic because maybe their ancestors moved over speaking Gaeilge, and that was anglicized to the word Gaelic,
Mhm.
meaning of an Irish person. So in Ireland, I think you'll find maybe 95% of people call the language Irish, but in Irish, the language is Gaeilge. And then the adjective is Gaelic, like the Gaelic games, etc.
Okay, so I'm going to have a little segment here that we're going to call Gita Be Gaelica. How did I do?
Wow! Brilliant. Very good.
I even have a drum roll. You didn't hear the drum roll, but I have a drum roll underneath this. So teach me a couple of words here that I would be able to go to my next Shamrock Club meeting and be able to tell them that I know something.
Anua. I like that. So you could say something like Céad Míle Fulcha, which is 100,000 welcomes. Céad
Kate,
is 100. Céad
Case,
Míle
Mila,
Fulcha.
Falcha.
Perfect.
Case,
So
Mila, Falcha. Okay.
Céad Míle Fulcha,
Kate,
a
Mila, Falcha.
100,000 welcomes. Might be a
Okay.
nice way to open your meeting.
Okay.
You could say something like Is Misha, meaning it's me. So Is Misha Molly.
hmm
So
It's
you might
Misha.
say
Dave.
perfect. Is
Okay.
Misha is like I am. Is Misha Dave. Anua. You could say when you're ordering something, for example, a pint or a coffee or a cup of tea. For example, Pianta Guinness is a pint of Guinness. Pianta Guinness.
Pienza Guinness. Okay. That
Ledahull
one I
is
want to
please.
remember. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Pianta Guinness, Ledahull.
Ledaho.
Ledahull. Perfect.
Ledaho. Okay.
Ledahull is please, and it really means with your wish.
Okay. Oh, very good. Okay.
Ledahull. I know a lot of the listeners will be Irish American, and proudly so. Irish Americans have really built my career and helped me propel this movement. And I'm getting a lot of recognition in the Irish Times, the Irish Examiner, Skull Scarta, all these places. And it is in a great extent, thanks to my American students. They are so passionate, so enthusiastic. And I thank you and congratulate you for holding on to the Irish culture and actually bringing it back to the Irish people. It's so important what Irish Americans do. And I see this in my events. We had one called Talk for Ireland recently, where people gave a short speech in Irish, and you can see how much hard work and effort goes into the language by Irish Americans. So, cóghárgus, congratulations, agus gurf míle
For
míle
now.
maithagwibh. I'm here and I'm happy to help you and hold your hand on this journey. I would absolutely love to extend my courses. So I have a free course if people are interested on my website, irishwithmolly.com/mini course.
And thanks to Molly Guidra, who is the founder and director of Irish with Molly, for not only teaching us a little bit of Irish language, but also showing us a little bit of the background and the culture behind the Irish language, which I think is really important as well. So next time you go over there, you can just amaze your family and friends that, yeah, I know a little bit of Irish as well. Thanks again, Molly. Thanks for joining us. That's it for the month of April, and we hope to see you again next month. Thanks again to Walt and Molly, and hope to see you again soon. For more information about the Irish Genealogical Society International, go to the website at irishgenealogical.org. And for questions regarding the podcast, send an email to podcast@irishgenealogical.org.